Hello, everybody. It's Donna Cravata, and we have another Real 50 Over 50 interview. And today we have with us Lenore Kantor. She's a transformational coach, inspirational speaker, and an author for conscious leaders, founders, and soulpreneurs. As a founder and former corporate marketing executive, she combines strategic business expertise with the intuitive insight of a holistic healer. Through her mentorship, books, and speaking, Lenore has guided over 1,000 seekers to more personal fulfillment and professional purpose. Welcome, Lenore.
Hi, Donna. It's so great to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you. We always have such great conversations.
Oh, yeah, we could just keep going on.
So tell me, what are you up to these days in your world of work and life alchemy?
Yeah, well, I just redesigned my website, so that was like a big accomplishment. As I'm sure you're aware, like our work keeps evolving, right? We learn more, we grow, and um, I am just deeply embracing the spiral, which is, you learn something, then you come back around, you go deeper and deeper, and so I feel like I've been peeling back the layers of this work that I have been focused on, which is I used to help folks with their personal life and their professional life and looking at that balance. But what I really care about now is the full life ecosystem, which also includes our relationships and our environment. Because to me, that's the whole picture. And all the women that I work with, it's, the personal is professional and vice versa. And we're often not just struggling with work. I mean, we've got to balance relationships, family, we're in the sandwich, right? So we've got our parents, we got our children, like there's just so much. And then where do we live and what's going on around us? And when you think of just all of those elements, it's really important to look at the big picture. So that's one focus. And then I'm also looking at leadership default patterns, which I call the default codes that we have that we don't always understand are holding us back, right? So what got you to where you are isn't going to get you to where you need to be. And once we understand what's going on, then we can shift it. But until we have that awareness, we can be sort of stuck and not really understand why we're feeling frustrated or unfulfilled or empty or topping out and hitting a ceiling. So bringing more awareness is really so important, I think. And it's something that we can try to do ourselves, but sometimes we need some help to really get that reflection of what are we missing, right?
Yeah. Well, a lot from so many of these conversations I've had, and this one is around, I don't know, 162 or 3 or something like that. One pattern that comes up quite often is that, people feel guilty about this, like, changing again or transitioning into something else or reinventing in some way. And I think it's a lot of that is because there's societal pressure for us to not change, for us to start to step away from what we've been doing, but we don't want to. We want to do what's next.
What I want to say is it's actually a design feature that we're
Mhm.
supposed to change, not a bug. Like, and
Exactly.
I think we don't recognize
That.
that, but like I actually just made an important awareness, which is, the clients that I love working with, I work with them over time at
Yeah.
different stages in their life. And usually it starts with they've got, I don't want to say a crisis, but like a moment where they realize I want to change.
Yeah.
They're not happy where they are. They want to switch industries or professions, or they are topping out. They want to get to the next level, so something, or they've gotten divorced, whatever it is, they've got this change. So that's one pivot point. But then when they've worked through that, maintaining and sustaining, that's not so easy either, right? Like to embody the change that you've created, you really need to integrate,
Mhm.
because until you own it, it's not authentic. It's
Yeah,
kind of like you're trying on a
yeah,
new set of clothes, but you're not really sure how it fits. So that's the next step, is like, okay, you've made the realization, I want this new thing, but then you kind of have to like own it.
yeah, and
And then,
until you do, people don't feel it because you
yes,
don't believe it within yourself, so how can anybody else, believe it through you? You
it
have
takes
to.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does take time.
And then I would say, the third part is, okay, now you've got it going, but you're going to evolve again. So you want to like maintain and keep building on the growth that you've had to make sure you're tracking. And I'm sure you found this, like you set your goals at the beginning of the year, you get 3 months in, things start like sliding. You're 6 months in, you might actually have a whole new set of goals. And it's okay, like that's okay, like what you want changed because you learned and you grew. And so being like flexible and making sure that you're not like holding yourself down inadvertently by restricting your growth, but you're like constantly incorporating what's next. Like I think, I don't know, that just feels more true for how
Mhm.
things really work for me.
Yeah, me too. I've been doing the work I've been doing for so long, and so much of it is it's built around opportunities that you don't even know about yet.
Yeah.
So years ago, I decided that goals were really suggestions.
Yes. Love that. Well, I do think, one of the other things that is important for me is I'm constantly saying to people, is it what you really want, or is it just what you think you want? Because
Yeah.
if it's a should, that's not the same as, oh, this is what lights up my heart.
Mhm.
And like, I'm really passionate, because if you pursue that, it's a whole different energy and flow. And, but too often we get in our heads, like, this is what it should look like. It should be this much money. It should be this title. It should be,
Mhm.
this structure. But why? I don't know, because that's what we were taught, and that's what everyone around us has, and that's what our parents did, and da, 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 right? And it's very narrow. And then when you realize, okay, there's actually like all of these other possibilities, like, oh my God.
And everything is changing so fast. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know how we could stay in that zone, you know? I mean, like yesterday, I saw a job listed on LinkedIn for some random AI role, and the salary was from 250,000 to $700,000. And
Wow.
just looking at that shows you like how volatile all of this is, because like what happens in that role for that salary range to be so vast, and what are they doing that it
Oh
can
my
reach
God.
$700,000?
Well, it's funny. I was reflecting on this. I was just talking with someone who has retired, but they saw an opportunity to go back in, and the salary was significantly more than what they were earning. I was like, well, you should apply. They're like, oh, I'm retired. I don't want to go back. I was like, but you should apply. Like, why? Because things are changing. And when you have a certain expertise and a skill set,
Mhm.
like that's pretty valuable. Okay, sure, there's AI and that's a different thing, but it's
That
still
that
not
can be done.
replacing that core
Yeah.
fundamental ability to manage people and to problem solve and kind of ask the right
That
questions.
that kind of experience, that and storytelling are the two types of experience that AI can't do.
Yeah,
So, if there's a high level job or role around AI that requires that the AI part could be learned, the
yeah,
part that experience is sitting in cannot.
yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, it's really wild. I mean, I'm always looking at everything, and I've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah.
There's things out there that, I never expected to see. It's pretty insane. Um, and I've applied for jobs just because I've never seen anything like it before. I don't really
Yeah.
want one. I'm like, what the heck?
Well, it is
$17,000 a
interesting.
year. I'll think about it.
Yeah, it's interesting because there are, you know, I don't want to say I was a doomsayer, but I was very concerned about the technology's ability to disintermediate so many people because I was seeing that happening in financial services. I knew that whole jobs were going to be eliminated completely. But it is fascinating to see that a whole new type of work has emerged as job functions and needs that just didn't exist before, and they have different skill sets. And it's like with anything, we were just talking about, getting on a new platform and learning how it operates, and like if you can be ahead of the curve, then you're able to, ride the wind and kind of take advantage. So yeah, it's but there's a lot of change.
There is a lot, and a lot of these new roles, you know, they're better than the old ones because, the redundant work can be done by tools now. So that leaves room for, um, the opportunity to have just a more a more full experience. And I mean, that's to me, that's what that salary range said is, this is the opportunity to show what you could do.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
to me, that was very exciting. It wasn't like a $25,000 spread. It was, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, it is interesting. Like, I was a CMO, and I remember being replaced by, some folks who, let's say, worked for me, and they were capable people. But, some people end up in jobs and are not necessarily, that's not their core expertise.
Mhm,
Other people grow into roles and really excel. But there are so many different levels of awareness, knowledge,
mhm.
breath, like everyone approaches different positions differently and brings a different toolkit. So if someone had like a PR background, that's not the same as like a marketing background, or or product development right? So it's just, yeah, it's super fascinating.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. I'm having fun just watching. And, it's just interesting to see my own years of experience and how I've been able to, play with them and slice them and dice them and working with clients as well, just like pulling back these things that they've done years ago that are relevant and, they forgot about.
Well, I think part of this is being curious, and then
Yeah.
part of it is being adaptable, and then recognizing like what without discounting it. Because I do think so many people take their own expertise for granted. Like the things that come easiest to us, we think, oh, everyone can do that, but that's just not true.
No.
Whatever we are naturally good at, many other people struggle with exactly that thing and need the gifts that we have. And I think,
And that's often the thing that's hard to explain.
yes, well, it is and it isn't. I mean, I think this comes from the self-awareness and
Mm,
recognizing, what do you like doing, what are
mhm.
you naturally good at doing. If you had a choice, like how would you spend your time? That's probably what you're really, really enjoy and you're good at. So why not bring those things together so you can really leverage what you love and help
Mhm.
other people that probably need that skill,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, definitely, and, now with that, everything's changing is more of an opportunity to get more specific about that.
Yeah, yeah. But I do think the more we know ourselves and own it, right? Like really recognize the value of what we have, that's a true differentiator, because so many people do struggle to articulate it. That I've definitely seen that. I mean, I'm just working with a client now who's incredibly capable, and I looked at her resume, like, you worked at great places, but you're just not saying anything. Like, I can't really tell what you do. And so she's like, yeah, so yeah, you got to be more specific.
So tell me what else you're working on.
Well, I'm definitely jazzed about these leadership default patterns. And what I think is so interesting about them is that what I've recognized is we have things that are sort of inner capabilities. Then we have our interpersonal, the way we relate to others, and then we have outer facing qualities. And so I've identified these different patterns in those separate areas. But then I found other ways that we are similar, like people are focused on achievement. People are focused on giving. There are some people who are very in their heads, right? Like, perfectionist, or, judging other people, whatever those tendencies are. And yet there are different ways that those patterns are expressed depending on the underlying need that the person has, or their wound, if you will. Are they looking for love, or are they looking for connection and attention? Or are they looking for validation, or are they looking for safety, right? Whatever, like, we all have different things that are important for us that we might not be consciously aware of, that we're acting out in our interactions and day-to-day life with our family and friends, and our personal life, and in our work. And I think it impacts us professionally when we don't realize. I used to say, you're looking for love in all the wrong places. Like, work is not love. You are not going to get the love you want from your parents, from your job. That just ain't going to happen in any way, shape, or form, even if you get lucky. Like, that's a whole other thing. But, people that put all of their energy into work. So just recognizing those unhelpful patterns is the key to sort of starting to unwind them, and then integrate the gifts of your underlying natural tendencies, but putting it into a more balanced way of approaching things.
It's like readjusting the intangible operating system.
Yes, well, it is like that. I actually do use that word a lot, like your operating system. Like, you have some bugs that you need to start becoming aware of, that are like your natural tendencies, but you weren't designed to be that way. You learn to be that way, right? As a coping mechanism.
And when you don't address it, it just gets mixed up, right? So the things that should be being worked on at home are now kind of like driving how you're showing up in the office, and vice versa.
Yeah, and I think that what sometimes happens is people get faced with having to deal with these things, and that's never good. When you have like a reckoning, I call it your tower moment. You get laid off, you don't get promoted, you get stabbed in the back by a colleague, or you don't get credit. Like, all of these things that we all deal with, it's not that you can always see them coming, but when they happen, it's like the wake-up call. Then you can't ignore it. So, just having more of an awareness makes us better able to adapt.
And heal.
Yes.
Because if you can't see it, you can't heal it.
Yeah. And, speaking to that specifically, one of the most important things I help clients with is to recognize what's the stuff they're carrying around from the past, like that albatross, the weight around their neck, right? And they're carrying this with them all the time, and they can't see it. They don't realize how heavy it is until we look at it, and then I can say, wow, what's going on there? And then they start talking, you could see that they're still carrying it around. It's like, that's not serving you anymore. You gotta let that go. Let's put that down. It's too heavy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and then that makes room for something else.
exactly.
Yeah, I love that, layer by layer by layer. I heard somebody say, instead of peeling the onion, peeling the artichoke.
Yes. Yeah.
I liked that a lot.
Getting to the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And of course, there is some bitterness there, the choke, right?
And
Like, it's true.
spicy parts.
Yeah. 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 But it doesn't need to be painful. I think what I've noticed is a lot of people are afraid to do that deep work because they're scared of what it's going to reveal, or they don't want to feel the pain again. But I do believe the only way to do it is to go through it so you can come out the other side and you can feel lighter and more joyful. And it doesn't need to be all doom and gloom, but I think people get mired in the challenges instead of seeing how this is an opportunity for something new.
Yeah. Well, it's in typical circles, it's not presented that way,
Yeah.
It's presented as something that's going to take years to handle, and, like, traditional talk therapy or something,
Yes.
and even with that, there's stigma associated to anything that even remotely feels like mental health. So, there's so much to work through just to get to do the work.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I do. I recognize that it can be a little daunting and scary to sort of face our fears in a way, but
Mhm.
that's the work we have to do, because otherwise we stay stuck. And I've been thinking about this a lot because I was reflecting on, you know, people do have limited capacity, right? Some people are able to stretch and so we have to meet people where they are, and not everybody is, able or willing to go and, rehash everything. But there needs to be some kind of willingness to reflect. Otherwise, it's very hard to grow. It's
Yeah,
hard to grow if you stay stuck in a small cocoon.
yeah, I see it too, because, um, people come to me wanting visibility, they want PR, they want to be on the Oprah show, and then they start to realize what that means. And I had a client about a year ago, and it was a pretty big engagement. We did a lot of work. They hired me to build out the PR infrastructure in their good-sized company. And about a quarter of the way in, they realized that it was not what they expected, and they didn't want it.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. What do they say? Be careful what you wish for,
Yeah.
because you just might get it.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, they were just, like, all in, excited, and then, when the opportunity started to be presented to them,
Yeah.
they didn't wanna do it.
Well, I want to say this is true quite frequently, that people think they want something, not knowing what it is, and then like getting into it and then realizing, what have I done? Like, they create a monster, right? Either a business they don't want, or they're in a role that has demands where they have to kind of compromise their values, or all of these things. And it's very hard to step it back when you've kind of like committed, and it becomes your identity and how you define yourself and what you think you want, all the ambition and all of that stuff. And really, I think that's when we need to kind of be honest with ourselves, because when we are, then only then can you change. But otherwise, there's this feeling of disconnection.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's really easy to veer off fast and and wide quickly,
yeah,
and, really make a sizable investment in time and energy and resource and money in something that you don't want.
Oh my gosh, I think of how much money I spent coming out of corporate starting my own business, because that's what you do. You have to spend it, you have to build it. Oh
Yeah.
my God, so many mistakes.
I know, like most of the clients that I've get, and this is for years, they're 3 to 5 years out of corporate, and they've made all the marketing bad investments, and they come to me and they're frustrated and pissed off and like, just like, well, what could you do? Like I don't even want to. I know there's a better way. What's the better way? Do you know the better way? Just tell me or not.
Yeah. Well, and this points to another thing I see a lot is people want someone to give them the answer because it is hard to figure it out for yourself, right? But no one else can really tell you what to do. If you slow down and listen to yourself, but you actually have to do that. You can't keep like, help me, tell me. Like,
Yeah.
I could tell you what to do till the cows come home, but that doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Like, I might have a lot of insight and know, but unless you actually want the help or open to doing the work and
Yeah.
there's so much that goes into it.
I mean, like so much, like I don't do much social media work anymore. I'm more focused on the content as a whole. But when people would come to me and say, "Do my social media," I would say, "Come back to me in 2 years," because that just says you don't want to be part of your own voice.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That is
You know?
true.
You can't delegate that. You have to be part of it. Then you could delegate it.
Well, and I do think that, for a lot of founders, they don't want to be the spokesperson, but it's your business and you need to do that. So you need to recognize you're the voice, you're the brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to get that, the initial voice and content development done before you can delegate it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so
But
true.
they don't want to hear that.
They
Like
want, where's that easy button? Give me the
yeah,
easy.
and AI only made that worse.
Yes.
I I take a different approach to that because there is no easy button.
No, got to do the work.
You got to go through
But
it.
it's worth it. It is worth
So
it because
it's
if you can own it, like, oh, it's so
yeah,
powerful.
yeah, it really is powerful, and then you can delegate, and you can delegate wholeheartedly because um, you're actually in a position to empower the person that's there to help you, or the people that are there to help you, versus just giving them something that's unfinished and will never sound like you.
Yeah. Yeah. It
It's
does
it's
take time though. It's not an
no,
easy
it
process by
doesn't.
any stretch
Yeah,
of the imagination. And I have to say for me, I resisted, just speaking from my own experience, because you know, it's hard, the whole like experimentation and learning and making mistakes. It's kind of painful. Like,
it
you
is.
put yourself out there and something doesn't work and then you're like, damn, like that sucked. Like, I don't
I
want
mean,
that to
I
happen again.
I think that the transition from going from corporate, where there are departments for things and like somebody else is making the bad decisions, so you don't need to take accountability for them. And all that is going on in the background. And there's a steady paycheck and there's benefits and you get vacation days. And if you get sick or you need to be hospitalized, it's handled, right? That transition into that safety net is completely gone, and you're like, walking that tightrope between the twin towers is there and real and present in your life. Um, that alone is scary in an adjustment period. And then to be told, like, now you have to go through um, the possible pain of like healing things and claiming your voice.
Well, I mean, there is so much to having your own business. I mean,
Yeah,
marketing and visibility, that's like one thing, but just even learning how
yeah.
to sell like that, like
I mean, just
you gotta beg for your dinner, so to
well,
speak.
just accountability, like if you have a job for 30 years, you know where you have to be every day, you know what you have to do, you know what time you have to be there. It's very easy to be in your house and say, well, maybe I'll just go take a walk first, or I'll do this. And then before you know it, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's like, maybe I'll take a nap and then I'll do the laundry. And now it's 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you just wasted a day. And you have to get into this cadence of what life looks like now.
yeah,
And how do you keep yourself at your desk when the sun is shining and the birds are calling, you know?
yeah.
That's a thing too. Um,
Freedom.
yeah, and you have to learn how to kind of balance that. It's all a process.
Yeah.
And but I'm 20 years in and I can't imagine going back.
Oh, right there with you.
I just can't imagine going back. I recently was chatting with a friend of mine who I worked with when I worked in law firms, and we worked together very closely. We used to travel together and do like, we used to go do training like all over the world, and we'd spent a lot of time traveling and working really closely together. And she was there for 40 years and got laid off.
Mm.
And she was in a total panic, and I was like her lifeline because like I was like the visual representation of she's been out for 20 years and she's okay.
You can survive.
And she found a job, so she's good and she's happy,
Yeah.
but she's in her 60s. That was
Yeah,
really
it's different.
hard.
It's very different.
That was really
Wow.
hard. And she was complaining about the same things that we complained about 20 years ago.
Stuff doesn't change that fast.
Oh, no, no, no. So yeah, it was just a real representation um, of how I spent my 20 years, which again wasn't easy. It's still not easy. It's hard. It's hard work, but it's so rewarding,
Yeah.
and you have the power to change it and to make it what you want.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, and I just did it again,
Yep.
and I'm sure it's not the last time. So you've got a new book brewing in you too, huh?
Yes, I do. It's going to be going deeper around these leadership patterns. So
Mhm.
I'm not exactly sure what the form is going to take. So I decided rather than push to write it, I would really make sure that I'm writing the book that I want that's meant to come through the the learning and the content that been developing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's good. Books are a lot of work, so
they are, but very satisfying also. I just love that creative process. So
yeah, yeah, me too. Me too. I love being able to turn the things that I learn along this twisty, turny path, and share them, so maybe they'll help somebody else.
yeah, yeah, I agree.
So we are at a half an hour. Is there anything else you want to share? Maybe a wisdom bomb?
Yeah, what I would say is what I have found is, so many of us are following the default, right? The patterns and the experiences that we fell into by luck or because of our family or whatever. And until we recognize that we're in something that's, repetitive, we can't make a change. So we need to become more consciously aware, and then we can choose to build our life and work by design. So I think that's really the key, is to recognize that there is another path. You don't have to keep doing whatever you've been doing, but you need to know that something else is possible, and then you need to decide you're ready to step into that.
Yeah, that's great advice. And the key word there that jumped out for me was choose.
Yes. Yeah, conscious choice. I'm all for it being intentional.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you. And everybody connect with Lenore at growthwarrior.co. She's also active on LinkedIn, and she's got lots of good stuff coming up over the next couple of months. So keep an eye on what she's doing. And if you're watching on the replay, have any comments, suggestions, ideas, just tag us and we'll come back and keep the conversation going. Thank you, Lenore, for
Thank you,
spending
Don.
time today, and we will be back next week with another interview. And have a great Wednesday, everybody.
So much fun. Thanks again.
Bye.